Tomorrow Talk Episode 1, Avengers Campus. Avengers Campus is cool. Widely regarded as the worst Disneyland in the world, Avengers Campus opened at California Adventure in 2021 and at Walt Disney Studios in 2022. This is Lachlan Howard as Amusement Tomorrow, and let's talk about Avengers Campus. On my recent visit to Disney's California Adventure, my day started off with Avengers Campus. I hadn't been to the park since 2015, and lots has changed since then, most notably the closure of Tower of Terror and renovation to Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. For a few years, the ride sat by itself, randomly placed in the park with no cohesion anywhere, yet when it was announced in 2017, the ride was said to be joined by SpiderMan and the rest of the Avengers at a later date. Well, that later date was announced to be July 18, 2020. That announcement was made on March 11th, 2020, mere hours before the whole world fell apart. Anyway, Avengers Campus would finally open on June 4th, 2021 with a new Spider-Man Web Slingers attraction. Reiterating what I said at the beginning of this video, my first visit to the land was on July 27th, 2022. I'm not really a Marvel fan. I've seen Black Panther and WandaVision, both of which I did really like, but I'm not a super fan like many are. I am a fan of amusement parks, and especially a fan of Disney parks. They've always been my favorite, and my favorite ride that Disney has ever done is Tower of Terror at Hollywood Studios. Guardians has been open for 5 years now, and it has always been extremely intriguing to me. But I needed to get on it before I could talk about it, of course. So our first ride of the day and first ride at Disneyland Resort in over 7 years was inevitably Guardians of the Galaxy, and my first new experience at the park would be Avengers Campus as a whole. So, my opinions. Walking into the land from the backside through Hollywoodland, I wasn't super impressed with the transition from land to land, especially because Hollywood theming like that is my favorite in parks. Examples of that are Universal Studios parks and Hollywood Studios like Sunset Boulevard. Moving into Avengers Campus though, Guardians is kind of alone and secluded. I don't think that it's necessarily on purpose, but one could say it is because it's the Collector's Fortress and that's not really Avengers, and I guess he's a villain. I haven't seen any of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, but the theming is actually very well done, to my knowledge. I don't really know if it's connected to the movies at all. But also to think that they transformed the whole Tower of Terror facade as quickly as they did is really amazing. I wish Disney still worked that quickly, and the ride is gorgeous from the outside, and it's very bright and colorful, and the theming is nicely executed. My critique for Guardians has nothing to do with the ride experience, because my main gripe is that it still looks like a hotel. I understand that they were working with existing structures, but I think more could have been done. Again, though, in the time frame, I don't think that more could have been done, actually, so in that regard, it's perfect. The other issue is that the back of the ride is just plain. Seemingly untouched and totally visible from outside of the park, the back of the ride should have got something on it. Like the collector, it's his fortress, he has some sort of logo, and I think even simply giving it some color and branding the back of the ride with that logo would have been nice. The lighting is also poor in the back at night, I assume because they didn't do anything, so they don't want to show it off. But Tower of Terror in Florida is gorgeous from any angle and any time, and I just expected more there. Getting into the ride, though, the old hotel theme does shine through in the outdoor portion of the queue, but as soon as you get inside, it is extremely immersive, and it doesn't seem like a Tower of Terror at all. The little tanks, I'd call them, I guess, are scattered throughout the queue, and they are very interesting, and the pre-show with Rocket is great. I just generally really enjoy the thought of Rocket not being able to get the doors unlocked because he has little paws and he needs hands, so he has to use your hands. It's just generally brilliant, and the encouragement to put your hands up is so smart on Disney's behalf. The ride cycle is extremely long. In fact, the drop sequence seems much longer than that of Florida's, but it of course doesn't have a dark ride section, and there are a few pauses that seem a little odd and make the ride feel a little bit choppy, but with the amazing music and drops, I totally overlooked this. The storyline is cool, and everything in general is amazing with the ride experience itself. To me, Guardians is right up there with the best drop towers in the world, just not quite on par with the Hollywood Studios Twilight Zone original. But I think that's perfectly fine, as it's still pure fun. But moving on from Guardians to the rest of the land, I was actually shocked with how immersive and well done everything was. With daily operation in a land that at this point has been basically open for 2 years, everything looked brand new. It was perfectly clean, and all in all, it's beautiful modern theming. The best I've probably ever seen. yeah, I think it's the best modern theming out there right now. Besides, I guess I didn't write this down, but Tomorrowland in Shanghai is very good. I wouldn't say necessarily it's as like immersive and cohesive as this though. The buildings are all extremely well done, especially whatever you'd call the one with the Quinjet on it, and the Pim restaurants are great as well. I didn't try anything from Pim Tasting Lab as I'm not 21 and there really isn't any reason to go there if you're not, but the Pim Test Kitchen food was by far the best in the park to me. I even ate at Lamplight Lounge, the like outdoor portion of it that you can just walk up to, and I thought the food at Pim was much better. The chicken sandwich is amazing and the pretzel was also fantastic. I tried the candy bar and I thought it was fine. I wasn't really in the mood for one, but I had to get a picture of it. I also tried a drink that was Sprite and something, and it was fine. But it had pearls in it and a thin straw, so you didn't get to taste the pearls, which was unfortunate. But the real star of the show, food-wise, in the land was not at Pim. It was the shawarma. We only tried one of the variants, and it was the fully vegan Impossible shawarma, and it was really good. A perfect breakfast for a long day, Disney park day, and the sauce that came with it was amazing. It's definitely a must get when you visit. You have to go, and if you go in the morning, there's no wait at all, but I think you can mobile order. I'm not 100% sure, but you might be able to mobile order from there. You can mobile order from Pim Test Kitchen, which we obviously utilized. We were probably in the land riding Guardians, looking around and eating for the first hour of our park day, and I literally had no complaints. I think the immersion was spectacular, and in general, I really loved it. Disney hasn't done futuristic theming and executed it this well in the US since, I don't think they really have done it in forever. I don't even think Tomorrowland in its current state when it opened really matched the vibe that people wanted and that it was going for, because it just didn't. Not even Disneyland's with Rocket Rods was very good. But I really liked it. I think the original Tomorrowlands are better modern theming, of course, but this is really good modern upscale theming. We came back to Avengers Campus for SpiderMan Web Slingers around 6 o'clock to have a shorter wait, because when we were there in the morning, the line was averaging about 75 to 90 minutes, and we ended up waiting just under 45, which to me was fantastic. I would definitely say start with Guardians, and then head back later to do Spider-Man. Also because, this isn't in my notes, but when the show is running, the show starts later in the day. So if you're at Guardians, then you can kind of just get out of Avengers Campus after you have eaten or something or done everything you want to do, and kind of head to Cars and head just back around. Then once you come back around the park, the Spider-Man show will be happening and Web Slingers will be a shorter wait. The queue at Spider-Man was really enjoyable and not hot at all around 6 o'clock, and the pre-show to the loading is actually, to me, really well done. Now, Spider-Man Web Slingers had been really talked down for me since it opened. The people that post and write about their opinions really diss the ride experience for being lackluster, and I completely disagree. I thought every bit of the ride was fun. The controls are easy to understand, and you literally just throw your hands at a screen and it actually works. I have no idea how, and I haven't looked into it, but the technology is really, really cool. Shooting dark rides at parks usually don't work, and the controls at classics like Buzz Lightyear are only usually 50-50, and especially sharing a park with the best shooting dark ride out there, Midway Mania, I think Web Slingers is just as accurate and honestly probably the most comfortable. The storyline is done great, the ride vehicles are really cool to look at, and they're comfortable to ride in. Basically, I just really, really like Web Slingers, and I think it's extremely underrated by the hardcore theme park enthusiasts and Disney pros. The guests don't seem to be underrating it, and they're still lining up and waiting for this ride, and I completely understand why. I think it's certainly a must-do in the park. Other aspects were cool, the characters all look amazing, and the merch, of course, is perfectly well done. While I didn't get to see the Spider-Man Suntronic show, it is probably one of the better aspects of the land itself. I just really like the idea of it. Now, I haven't yet visited the Paris counterpart, and I don't even really know what's going on with the Hong Kong counterpart. But I can say for the people that dub Avengers Campus as the worst Disneyland, I think it's just kind of unfair. I'm not even a fan of Marvel at all, and I really thought it was amazing. It is surely better than Marvel Superhero Island, and I think I even enjoy Web Slingers more than Universal Spider-Man. I don't even know what it's called, Spider-Man the Ride 3D probably or something. I'm sure that's a really scorching hot take. But overall, I don't think it's any better than lands like Toy Story Land, but I do think it's better than Pixar Pier and even Tomorrowland just across the way. It of course doesn't really compare to Galaxy's Edge, and not even in the same echelon as Cars Land or any of the other Fantasyland, Adventureland, Frontierland examples, but all in all, I think it's certainly a great Disney Imagineering success, and I really do enjoy it. Which, okay, this is the first critical video I've ever done, and me being this positive is probably going to be rare, but seriously, this land has no overarching flaw. Lands like Toy Story Land are amazing, but already it's losing its vibrance, and is still incredibly sunny and hot. They're opening that restaurant, but, I mean, not a lot is known about that, and that will be good air conditioning, but only if you get a reservation, and you probably won't. Tomorrowland is extremely dated on all accounts except Shanghai, which already, I just watched a walkthrough tour, and some aspects of Tomorrowland in Shanghai are kind of already dated, but I think that Avengers Campus is pretty much perfect for what it is. I don't really know how much further they could push the theming, if at all, and in regards to what a modern-looking Marvel-type land could be, I think they created it to be very timeless, and in my opinion, it's a very, very solid addition to California Adventure, and I think it brings the park up, not down. So moving on from my opinions, I asked my Instagram followers for their opinions, comments, and questions on or about Avengers Campus. Fully knowing that the land is not super popular, the responses were mixed. I chose 3 responses that I received that I want to talk about most. First, this follower stated, if we are talking about Disneyland Paris Avengers Campus, it's bad, it's cheap, and Merlin could do better. Now, I literally just made the biggest case for California Adventures Campus. California's Avengers Campus. I haven't visited the one in Paris quite yet. I'm hoping to make it out there sometime in October. And I think that the final statement that person made is completely incorrect. Merlin doesn't make cohesive lands in their parks, on all accounts that I'm fully aware of at the moment. If Avengers Campus is anything, it is cohesive and thought out. Whether that's cohesively bad or good, it's up to you, but it's all nicely put together. Not speaking necessarily for all Merlin parks here, because I don't know every aspect of every one, because I've only visited the one. The biggest one I visited is Thorpe Park, and to me, it was a mashup of boring and uninspired theming that seemed repetitively horror-based, and I just simply didn't like it. I guess that's just me, though, I guess. Some Merlin parks do look to have great qualities, but I do not think they are even near the same level as Disney, which, like, let's face it, this level of Disney is lower than it has been in the past. Like, Paris's Avengers Campus opened up extremely recently and has been generally touted as a lot worse than its California counterpart. People noting the biggest issues, the restaurants do seem very uninspired over there, I've noticed that. The show building decoration for the Flight Force roller coaster doesn't really make any sense during the day, and overall it just doesn't have the same vibe without Guardians to me. But again, I haven't been, but from what I've seen, that's what I've thought, and that's kind of the general consensus that people are coming up with, although that opening ceremony was gorgeous with the drones. Moving on though, I have been to Walt Disney Studios, and even went on the former Rock and Roller Coaster when I was there, which was definitely worse than its Florida counterpart, just not having as much theming all around. But in saying that, the land Avengers Campus is certainly an overall improvement from what the area looked like prior, and honestly is the highest quality section of the park, if it's not second Ratatouille. I definitely do think it looks the most, it's the closest to Disney at Walt Disney Studios. Avengers Campus is certainly going to be a stepping stone for Walt Disney Studios Park, but I don't think as as not much budget has been brought over to that gate at all. If plans haven't changed, which I've actually heard that they have, Arendelle and Galaxy's Edge, which are high quality, I think they'll be a great fit for the park. I just don't know how if those are going to still happen, because that is basically up in the air after 2020. Because let's be real, the whole Avengers Campus land looks a lot different than it did prior, like at its announcement form. It looks a lot different. I could get into a whole video about Walt Disney Studios, which may be upcoming, especially if I do get over there in October, but that's kind of where I stand right now. I don't think that Merlin could do better, and I don't necessarily know if it's cheap, but it's up in the air to you if you think it's bad or good. Alright, second, this one is very basic. SpiderMan is bad. I brought it up earlier, but I like SpiderMan. Nothing is blatantly wrong with it. It's not super thrilling, but it is very fun. Disney has shown recently that they will certainly take the easy route when it comes to rides. Examples are those little whip rides they've cloned everywhere, opening Galaxy's Edge in parks that have a ton of Star Wars stuff already, and then cloning them exactly, which, I mean, Galaxy's Edge as a whole is not lazy, but making it exactly the same with other Star Wars attractions nearby is a little just, like, odd to me, I guess. Tomorrowland's still not being refreshed anywhere. Shanghai's was built the way that it looks, and it looks great, but Epcot's whole refurbishment is basically out the window, and that's so annoying to me. And Frozen. I could go on and on, but I don't think I would say that Web Slingers is necessarily lazy at all. The ride tech, as far as I know, is brand new, and generally it's a fully thought out experience. And they even got Tom Holland, the real Spider-Man actor, to be in it. I wouldn't say Spider-Man is bad, and if anything, the public seems to be really enjoying it. And the last comment that I chose to elaborate on is, it's good, but I wish there were more. Now, this is completely valid. There are only 2 rides and 1 restaurant, if not counting the shawarma cart. But if you are a huge Marvel fan, this is where I kind of go into tangent. If you're a huge Marvel fan, meeting the characters, I'd imagine, would be pretty important to you. I saw it firsthand as people were literally crying talking to Ant-Man. I honestly could not care less about meeting Iron Man or Wanda and whoever else, but the Doctor Strange meeting area is very cool, and meeting all the characters you want to could fill at least a whole hour if you wanted it. If you wanted to meet the characters, that could fill up a lot of time for you. There are so many Avengers, and as far as I know, a lot of them show up. I think there is currently a lot of stuff to do in the area. It's just whether or not you care to do it. People care mostly about the rides, and again, there are only 2, which is not, like, a lot, but Cars Land has 3. I mean, Pixar Pier has, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, if you count, I guess they have 5, if you count the Ferris wheel as 2, which I really wouldn't. But that's also, like, more compact. I don't think that, I guess it's not, like, I just don't really, I don't know how much more they could have fit in, and I don't know if they could fit in a third. They are, yeah, I mean, people care mostly about the rides, and again, there are only 2, which is not a ton, but it is so small there, I don't know if they could fit in a third, and I don't really know that they need to, seeing that when a series on Disney Plus or something comes out, that character usually makes an appearance for a while, which I think is cool. And the Spider-Man show as well. Like, the land can develop as it is with the characters. I just don't think that the Disney pros, really, or the coaster enthusiasts, many of them really care to kind of sit around and meet characters. I just don't think that's a priority for them, so people probably just don't even take that aspect into consideration. But yeah, that Spider-Man show, I didn't get to see it, but that would be a must-see if it was working. But yeah, just for me, not a Marvel fan, I thought there was just enough, as the rest of the park has a ton to offer that did fill our day completely. We were there past close because Radiator Springs Racers and then all the food. It's just like, California Adventure is not a half-day park anymore, as people might have touted it before, or probably still do. People probably still mention that California Adventure is a half-day park, and I really just don't think it is anymore. Well, basically that's all. I think Avengers Campus is a great land. Is it Disney's best? No. But I don't think that it's the worst in its current form and the way that other lands are looking at the moment. Comment below your thoughts. Do you agree with what I had to say? If not, tell me why. If you have any other questions or comments you want me to answer, directly send me a DM on Instagram at amusementtomorrow, and follow me there for daily amusement and theme park content. I will post on my story another question sticker next time I have something to talk about, and for the chance for one of your responses to be featured, be sure to respond. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I can't wait to see what we will talk about next. Thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.